weather's kinda cold, but you...
Hey guys, this is going to be a pretty easy video. These are the supplies that you're going to use. I'll list them in the description below and on my website at www.pattyjgood.com. Okay, first thing what we're going to do is we're going to cut our hair. We're going to cut 8-inch wide by 3.5-inch long, and you want the flowing down side to be the 3.5-inch long. Just measure across there, and then we're just going to go ahead and cut that out. We're going to cut behind the faux fur only. That piece happened to be already 8 inches, so I'm going to go ahead and cut it right here, cut behind the faux fur only, and then stick that aside. Then we're going to do the ponytail. We're going to cut it 6.5 inches in length, the long way, so the flowing side down, by 1.5 inches wide. And then on that one too, cut behind the faux fur only. We don't have to shape it, we're just going to cut it out. Okay, then we're going to take a dowel stick and we are going to sharpen it. We are going to stick it through the bottom of the styrofoam ball and make sure that you have no lines in the front for the face. Then we're going to go ahead and take our miter cutters, cut it off. And then we're going to flip it around and put the blunt side in there because the other side is going to stick down into our other styrofoam. Go ahead and put some glue inside there and glue that in. And this is going to be our head. Okay, next we're going to put this into our Sockinette, and that's a 2-inch tube by 4.5 inches in length. We're just going to pull it all the way down to the top and just glue that in. And her hair is going to cover all this up, so you're not going to see it. And then I'll come back and show you here in a minute. Don't glue this up until you get your nose put in there. I had to pull it back open, and I'll show you where I did that. But we're just gluing it down just to the styrofoam ball only. Then we're going to go ahead and pull it back, and we're going to trim around there just to kind of clean it off so we don't have a lot of excess fabric. Then we're going to go ahead and hem up the long side, just barely take it over. What we're doing is trying not to be able to see the seam when we actually put this on the head, because this is going to be at the very front of the face. Just fold it over and glue it in real good so it's flush. And then go ahead and smooth it out. And then we're going to go ahead and take our Sockinette face, and we are going to come down, fold it in half, get your center point, and then we're going to come down 1.5 inches from the base. So where the bottom of that pipe cleaner is, bottom of that stick is, we're going to go up 1.5 inches. And sorry, I had that on the opposite end. It showed 11.5. And we're just going to curve around to the back, so right towards where our stick is. And we are going to almost come up to where the stick is, but we're going to leave about 1/4 inch showing on the back. Just curve that on around towards the bottom so that we can get her hair completely full. And then we're going to meet in the back, and I actually had too much fabric on mine, so I cut some of it off, but I adjusted the pattern accordingly. Pull it on up there, get it glued in good, because we want those two sides to meet in the middle. If they overlap a little, it's not going to hurt anything. And we want to push the hair up towards the top. Okay, then we're going to close in the back. So just come in there and put a little bit of glue on the head, spread it out a little bit because you want to make sure that you get this glued in good, and then we're going to glue the hairs together. So just get that smoothed in there together so that that completely covers up that seam. Then we're going to go ahead and comb that straight up, and then make sure before we pull it up straight that you have all of it attached to the face, because you want a smooth line around her head. Okay, then we're going to go ahead and put that aside, and then we're going to build the ponytail part, and that's the part that's going to make the bun. We're just going to take 3 pipe cleaners, put them in here, cut them off, and glue them in right down the middle. And then we're going to glue those 2 sides shut. So we're just going to glue it on one side and fold it over. Just fold it like a sandwich. Okay, then we're going to go ahead and open up the fur so we can see the line. We're going to glue on top of the fur, and then we are going to close that over, and that will completely seal that seam in. And then just get it combed out good so it looks as one. Okay, then we're going to take our top part, and in the very front part where her face is, we are going to put some glue on the inside, and we are going to attach that ponytail to the inside top part. Then we're going to go ahead and we're going to draw it all up, and we're going to put a rubber band around there. Now don't worry about any straggly ends. We're going to fix all that here in a little bit. So we want to just put our rubber band right up against her head, just to hold all that in there good. And we're kind of giving her a messy bun is what we're doing, but I'm going to show you how to get all these strands straightened out. Okay, then we're going to pull up again, and we're going to put another rubber band around the next section, which is going to be like the top part of the first piece that we put on, like right at the tip where the ponytail comes out. Okay, now we're going to kind of squish that on down, and we're going to start twisting this. It has that wire in it, so it's going to twist tight. So get it tight, twist it around, just kind of turn it as you're twisting it, just to get it all in there. We're going to get all these hairs taken care of here in a minute, so don't worry about any stray hairs. Okay, then we're going to take a ribbon, and we're going to tie it around right at the tip of the head. Just kind of tuck some of that in there, and then just tie that in a bow. And then we're going to take a little bit of Elmer's glue, not a lot, and a little bit of water, and we're going to mix them together, and we're going to make like a kind of like a hairspray for her. But don't use hairspray on it, because hairspray will get sticky after a while. At least the glue will it'll dry solid, so that if you ever have that sitting on a shelf and you need to dust it, you'll be able to dust it. You won't be able to dust it if you put hairspray on it. So just take your finger and just start smoothing it out. And you don't need a lot of glue, just a little bit of glue. You don't want it like to be a stiff head or stiff hair. Okay, then we're going to go ahead and bring our Styrofoam in. I went ahead and poked a hole in the middle of it so I could stick this down inside of it so it could dry. Now here's where I opened it back up because I forgot to put the nose in it. Just stick that nose up in there before you tie that section off, and that's just a little white pom-pom about a ½ inch, and you can kind of put it up wherever you want to. And then I'm going to glue it back shut. Okay, then I'm going to take my Styrofoam, and I'm going to go ahead and add glue to it, and I'm going to go ahead and glue that head on in. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and add the eyes, and you can put them wherever you want to, but just make sure you don't cut too big of a hole in that stockinette. You want to make sure that your knife is facing straight up on one of those lines, not across it, because you do not want to snag them. Just push it on in there, and then do the same thing for the other one. Okay, next we're going to take a piece of quilt batting. It's 4 inches by 15½ inches, and we're going to fold it over on the short side, and then we're going to fold it over on the long side. So what we're doing is we are just kind of beefing up her neck a little bit so that when we put her dress on and her little shawl, she has a lot of bulk up there. So just get that around there and just glue that in. It doesn't have to be perfect because it's going to be completely covered up. It's just to give her a little bit of bulk at the top of her body. Okay, after we do that, we're going to go ahead and make our skirt. We're taking a 4½ inch by 15 inch, and we are folding it up on the 15-inch side, 1/4 inch, just to hemming it up. And then we're going to do the same thing on the side, just so we have a nice clean edge on her skirt. Then we're going to take some string or some thread, and we're going to do a casing all the way across the top to draw that skirt up. We're just doing 1/4 inch stitches all the way across, and then we're going to get that drawn up so we can put that on her body. Okay, and just put that around there, and we're going to tie it off. If you do not want to sew this, you could put double-sided tape on it and kind of pleat it as you go. And just tie it off in the back. And then we're going to go ahead and close the opening down the back. We're coming down about, I'd say, a ½ inch from the top part of that batting. Just make sure that it goes all the way down to the floor as your main objective. You have plenty of room to play with it. Just make sure it goes all the way down to the floor and covers up that styrofoam. Okay, then we're going to take a waistline of 1.5 by 9.25. We're going to fold it up on the short side, and we're going to just glue in our skirt. Make sure it's glued to the styrofoam real good. And then we're going to put our little waistband to tie it all together. We're going to go down find the middle spot, start at the middle, and we're going to go down onto the batting and the skirt together, and then just get all that glued in together. So we're going to go over both top and bottom just to tie that all the way together. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and do the little jacket on the side that is the straight side without any curves, and the pattern for this is in the description below. You're just going to do a casing along the top because we're going to gather it up as well. And this is what's going to go around her neck. This is her little jacket. All right, now we're going to go ahead and get those pleats all lined up, and you make sure you want to get it even. And then we're going to come to the center. And we're just going to overlap just a little bit, and then we're going to glue that in. So we're going to glue that one side down there. And then we're going to go ahead and tie our string off just to tighten it up. Just make sure your pleats are where you want them, or your gathers are where you want them. And then we're going to come back in, and we are going to glue down to the waistband. And then we're going to glue that side down to the other side. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and do the arms. We're doing 4.5 inch wide by 3.5 inch long. So the length of the arms are going to be 3 inches. We're just folding up one side to give it a nice smooth edge once you roll it up. We're going to take 3 pipe cleaners, bend them in half because we want some weight on these so we can move them. And we're going to go to the non-finished end, glue that in, leave a little bit of room for the bead. And I'm using a 15mm half bead. Glue that all the way down. And then we're going to open that up, put some glue in the middle, and we're going to put our half bead in there. And you're going to do the same thing for the other one. And then we're going to come back in and put some trim around the arms. And that's going to be that Fur the Love by Yarn Bee, the white. We're just going to just trim out the ends by our hands. Okay, get that glued in good, and then do the same thing for the other. Now we're going to go ahead and attach them. Just put a little bit of glue right up underneath. Make sure that your seam is against the body. And we're going to do the same thing for this side as well. And then we're going to tie a string to them right at the neckline to hold them all in. So make sure you tie that string tight because you do not want those arms to come off. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and cut the pipe cleaners off, and we're going to curl them up under so that there's no pointy edges on them. And then just lay them flush against the jacket. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and trim our string off, and then we are going to attach our shawl. This is a 2.25 by 10.5 inch, and we are hemming up the 10.5 inch on both sides. We're just going up about 1/4 inch. We're not meeting at the middle. We're just going 1/4 inch on both sides. And then we're going to finish out one side to finish off the edge. Then we're going to mark a middle spot and go right up against her neckline and onto her jacket, and we are just going to glue that in all the way around. And this will hide where you attached your arms, so that's the purpose of all this. Just make sure you get it glued in good, and that the finished edge overlaps the raw edge. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and trim out the jacket with that same fur that we used on our arms. And we are just going to outline the jacket. So follow the path of the jacket, and we're going to go all the way around and back up the front. And just finish it out and kind of tuck it up underneath the little shawl. Okay, now I'm going to add a few little beads. I got these at Dollar Tree. I'm just taking 3 little red beads and I'm going to attach them to her shawl. Then I'm going to take a piece of 4-inch felt. Oh, no, actually not felt. That's the same fleece. I'm using the fleece, attaching it to the bottom, glue it in really, really well. And then we're going to do little slits all the way around so we can attach it to the styrofoam. And then just put a little bit of glue on each little tab and then just pull those up. Next, I'm making her glasses. I'm just taking some wire and I'm wrapping it around just like a regular size Sharpie just to get the round eye holes. Then I'm just going to bend the middle up to give a nose piece. Just kind of play with the wire. This wire bends real easy. Once you get them exactly where you want them, then we're going to snip off the sides and we are going to glue this to her face with an E6000 glue. Now don't use hot glue on this because hot glue and metal don't really go well together on this kind of stuff and it might pop off. So I'm using the E6000 glue and it will stay. And you don't have to use a lot, just get enough on there to hold it onto her face. And then be sure and let it dry before you pick her up. Okay, there you have it. Cute little Mrs. Santa Claus gnome. If you like the video, hit like. If you want to see future videos, hit subscribe. And if you want to be notified when I have another video, hit the bell. Thank you so much for watching.